Welcome back, everybody, to Something to Complain About. This is episode 5 handfuls and 2 middle fingers. Did I get that right?
Yes,
Hey,
yeah.
Zay, I'm here with T. T, how's it going? We're doing this again.
Oh, it's going well. Actually, I think before we get started, because we're celebrating a very important anniversary in this episode. But before we get started, I just want to say that I have been studying Italian.
Me too.
I have been studying Italian for about 2 weeks longer than you have.
Yeah,
I
you
think you're
have.
the copy. Yeah, I think you're the copycat.
That's fine. Not a mind.
Is it fun?
It's fine, but it is also fun. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm brushing up on my German that I did learn at one point and have not used in 20 years,
You,
and trying to learn Italian at the same time, which is kind of fun.
you do know that you're studying two of the three major languages of the Axis powers, correct?
I'm okay with that.
Very, very okay. Then it has been fun. We're friends on Duolingo. I can I stalk you daily to see how many XPs you have, even though I'm not quite sure what an XP is.
I have no idea what an XP is. I just I just do it. Some days I have time to do like 5 or 6 lessons, and some days I have time to do 1 or 2. So I do it, but I usually try to do at least one lesson of each day.
Each day for your
And
streak.
my
Yep.
T has been doing French for a long time, like on day streak, whatever, 1,900 or something. I don't know what it is. It's a lot. He's been doing it for a couple of years. And he did start now with German, but for whatever reason, he is an entire unit ahead of me. And I don't know. I don't know if it's because I am doing Italian. So, I mean, he's doing 2 languages, I'm doing 2 languages, but I don't know how he got ahead of me in German. But I took
And
German, so I still know more
I'm
than he.
wondering what the benefit is of doing two languages at once. Like, I would think you would get confused.
I don't know if there's a benefit other than I want them both, right? Like when I was in undergrad, I took Spanish and German together.
At the same
Mostly,
time?
mostly I took German because my entire mom's family speaks German and spoke German most of the time. So I thought it would be cool to learn a language that my family used and that I could, because as kids, we were basically not really taught it, even though all of my mom's brothers and sisters were speaking German, their wives and husbands were
Mhm.
speaking German.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought I'm going to learn this because my family knows it. My mother should have taught me when we were kids because my mother not only grew up speaking German and had to learn English to go to first grade. She didn't go to kindergarten, went first grade. She
Mhm.
also got a degree in secondary education German. So she got a degree to teach German. Didn't teach any of like us any German, and I was like, she sure could have. That would have been really cool because we would have learned it much easier as kids. But I did take it as I think I was a sophomore. I'm pretty sure I was a sophomore when I took German. I took an intensive Spanish class over the summer between my freshman and sophomore years for undergrad. And I did it because I had taken 2 or 3 years of Spanish in high school. It was the only language we had available to us. And then I took the intensive because it had been at least a year and I needed to get those first 2 classes done. So they were one 6 credit class for 6 weeks or whatever it was. Um, and then I went into the next semester of Spanish, which would have been, I don't know, the first intermediate level Spanish. So I was taking German 1 and Spanish 3 basically at the same time my sophomore year in college. And I remember I had an exam in both on the same day. And answered one of my Spanish questions half in German and half in Spanish. And I just think it was my last class of the day. I was exhausted.
That's where I'm kind of like, I don't know where where the benefit is. And I think, well, I mean, for me, when I study a language, I am faithful to that language. I don't have a little side piece, additional language that I'm studying on the side. I am true blue, faithful to the language that I'm studying. And
But you have studied other languages.
Yeah, I have. But I still get confused because now that I'm studying Italian, a lot of my Spanish is coming back. And sometimes get those two confused. And Latin and French. Not so much the French, the Latin, yes, but definitely the Spanish. I'm like, oh, I'm going to see where this is. It's going to be a challenge.
I've not struggled with the Latin. And the Greek and the Hebrew that I studied have absolutely no bearing whatsoever on any of these languages. So,
yeah, no, the Latin I studied. No, of course, nobody speaks it anymore. But I have studied primarily Romance languages, which are all rooted in Latin. So, having studied Latin, that kind of comes back, and so yeah. But it's fun. But I decide to stay faithful to whatever language I'm studying.
I don't.
I
spread the love.
You're a two-timer.
I'm a timer.
You're cheating on German with Italian.
Or maybe I'm cheating on Italian with German.
I don't know. I wish I could see like your average score, because that would be pretty cool. Because I'm already comparing the XP points with you. I'm looking at the little chart.
I don't know how to do that, but if you figure it out, let me know.
No, I'm not going to. Because now definitely has upper hand. Because every day, I'm like, how many did A do? Okay, it's like I did more than math.
Okay. You're still ahead of me. It's fine.
So
I figure I'm running out of time. That's why I'm doing the two at the same time, because at some point I would like to go to Europe again and not just be the quintessential dumb American who thinks everybody else should only speak English and I should never have to learn a language. I'd like to go back to Germany. I'd love to go to Italy. So I figure I should at least be slightly competent. And going maybe with the theme of our episode for today, considering that we're going to be talking about how Gen X is going to turn 60, I'm not that far from 50 at this point. So I figure I'm time limited. At some point, the brain is not going to pick up the language, so I need to cram in what I can now.
Are you starting to see the stands going through the hourglass?
Yes, and they're going faster and faster and faster with every given year.
So, yeah, but you bring up a great point. And I just thought of another episode idea of we're running out of time. But the very first Gen Xer turned 60 on January 1st of this year.
So if that's you, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
How does it feel to be 60? I want to know. Put it in the comments.
Okay, that is such a snotty thing to ask because time marches on.
We're a little punchy today. It's fine, right? I like being punchy. It's okay. I think people also kind of like it when we're punchy. At the same time,
you think so?
I mean, if Gen Xers aren't used to being punchy, then are they really Gen Xers? Let's get existential here.
I know that's true. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that the oldest Gen Xers are now 60 years old. And before we went live, I was thinking about that Beatles song.
Yeah.
That 64, when I'm 64.
Yeah, you think you know I don't know this song, so it's all right.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
You should.
Well, I should know a
I
lot of things when it comes to music, and we know that I don't. So,
I have sung it to you before.
Mhm. You gonna sing it again?
No, I'm not, because I think the Beatles catalog is heavily, heavily, heavily licensed.
Oh, and you can't just sing a verse to me on
No, I don't think
our
so.
something to complain about podcasts that 17 people watch or something. Or, that's fair. I'll find it and we
Well,
can do it.
okay, yeah. Now there's one line that I think, like when you're younger, because 64 sounds so old when you're
It does.
young.
I'm not gonna lie, it still
And
sounds old.
and well, yeah, but there's a line that's like, will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
I hope so.
And it's, yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I put on the W rocking at 64.
64, yes. 84, I'm hoping not, but I'll take 64. That's fine.
If I'm still here at 84, we're going to have a conversation.
Well, it'll have to be loud and
Because
from
we're
our
still going to
from our
be,
wheelchairs or something.
you'd be like, hey, remember how our family used to take care of the old farm dogs? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, I do. I understand.
So, yeah. So, get this. So, here are some of the oldest Gen Xers. So, all these people who I'm going to list off either have already turned 60 or they will be turning 60 in 2025. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your mind is going to get blown. Ben Stiller.
What? He's
Yeah.
60? Oh dear. Okay.
And you know what's killer though is I think he directed Reality Bites, which is like one of the ultimate Gen X movies that you haven't seen. I can tell by the expression on your face. So yeah, but now he's 60. Or will be
I've
turning
seen Ben
60.
Stiller in quite a few movies.
Yeah. Okay, here's one you probably haven't heard for a while. Heidi Fleiss, Hollywood Madam.
She's 60?
Yeah.
I didn't know she was Gen X. All right. We got Heidi.
Uh, Chris
Diane
Rock.
Lane. Okay.
Yeah. Chris
Chris
Rock.
Rock. He's 60. All right.
Yeah. Or he will be. Okay. Here's something else that kind of put things into perspective.
Mhm.
Phew. Sex in the City actresses. Kristen Davis and Sarah Jessica Parker turning 60 this year. When
Wow.
Sex in the City first came out, which granted that was already almost 30 years ago, they were playing characters in their early 30s.
Yeah.
Right at 30. Yeah. Rodney King
From the LA Riots.
from the LA riots.
Wow.
Yeah. And
People
I
might have to
want
look
to,
that up.
they might have to. And I want to say he's no longer with us. I think he has since
I didn't
passed
think so.
away. Robert Downey Jr.
I don't know why that doesn't surprise me. That one doesn't surprise me.
Actually, I'm surprised he made it to 60.
I am too. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I'm glad he made it to 60, but I'm surprised he made it to 60. Ooh, John Cryer,
but
really?
here, Todd Bridges. You should know who he is. Tell me.
Is he Jeff's brother?
She is not. She
Well, that oh, that's a good guess. Then.
No.
Okay, then I
You
don't know who he is.
don't. Different Strokes.
Oh, okay.
He played Willis.
I would never remember that. I remember Different Strokes because we used to watch it on cable. like was the reruns when we were kids, but I don't remember any of their names.
You don't remember Arnold or
Arnold?
Kimberly?
No, not their names, not like the actors' names. I don't think I remember those names, but I know who you're talking
Those were
about.
the character names. Arnold was the character name.
Oh, okay.
Arnold and Wallace.
Do you know how many years it's been since I've seen different strokes?
I don't care. Some of this stuff should be ingrained in your memory.
Yeah, just not how my brain works. Viola Davis is on this list, though. I know who she is.
I know.
I'm kind of curious why you included the last one. She made a list, and so I'm very curious why T included this particular Gen Xer. I don't want to claim this one.
I don't either. And that's why I added him, because I guess I never cared enough to really know like how old he was, because he just kind of lives in his own.
Yeah.
But Jim Bob Duggar.
Right.
Is actually a Gen Xer.
Was it 20 kids or something?
19.
Yeah. Something like that.
But I think they count miscarriages. So 32. I don't know. He's part of that quiverful movement.
Yeah.
Making babies for Jesus. I think I just, with that statement, that's where we're going to get our downvote for this video.
That's okay. We don't mind downvotes.
That is true. So yeah, so now I added him simply because quite a contrast compared to the others, right?
To the list of sinners that we are more familiar with and care about.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I was like absolutely shocked looking at.
Yeah, you don't think about some of these people as being that much older than we are. And they're 12 years older than we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, is also just the realization here, too, is that we're at the tail end, right? Of genetics.
Yes and no. I mean, I think birth rate wise, we're kind of at the peak as far as, however many babies were born in 76 and 77. But yeah, we are more of, the back end.
Later Gen X.
Of Gen X.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at this, I was thinking, I think a lot of these individuals who were born this year are actually offspring of members of the silent generation, and maybe even a bit of the tail of the greatest generation. Whereas, like you and I, our parents were all baby boomers, and we tend to think of Gen Xers as products of baby boomers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Another thing that kind of surprised me was I pulled up some of the, like, what was in the big movies and TV shows and things that were going on in 1965 when Gen X made his grand appearance. And I got to tell you, as I was reading through all this is old to me.
Yeah.
So I think this is where that decade difference does come in, yeah? Where it's like, so. I look at those movies and I'm like, okay, these are all old movies, old TV shows. All of this was, said and done from.
Like, this would have been, our parents would have been 13, 14.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at the list of TV programs that you had shared with me, and I recognized quite a few of them, partially because they were all on like syndicated rerun, right? Like on cable for years and years and years when we were kids. Things like Bonanza,
And
which my dad used to watch when he was a kid, right? Which would have been 65, 66. So, yeah.
well, and that's what I was going to say, like these were shows that our parents watched as kids as they were growing up. And so, yeah, right away. But it kind of blows my mind that these were still on the air and very popular in Gen X, again, when we made our appearance. Andy Griffith was still on in
It was
1955.
the Beverly Hillbillies, the Dick Van Dyke Show, Did Sullivan Show.
Green
Get Smart.
Acres.
We used to get up this will sound silly, but as kids, we used to get up super early on a Saturday to watch Get Smart because it was on at like, I don't know, 6:30 or some stupid stuff. You couldn't get us up that early to go to school, but we liked that one for some reason, and we'd get up so we could watch it.
We're going to have to talk about that further sometime because I did not like that show. Oh, Petticoat Junction.
Yep.
For whatever reason, I always loved Petticoat Junction. I don't know why.
Gunsmoke. We used to watch
Was that the one with Miss Kitty?
I don't remember. I mean, I get Gunsmoke and Bonanza mixed up sometimes because they were similar in my head. I mean, I was so young.
No, Bonanza was the dad with the 3 sons. And Michael Landon played, was it Little? Yes. And then Michael Landon played the youngest who at Little Jewel.
Sounds right. Yep.
And then there was Hoss and Chase or Heaven.
I don't remember.
Something. And
Jim Bob. No, it wasn't. Sorry.
But who played the dad? Was that Lauren Green? Or was that Ernest Borgnine?
Oh, God, I don't know. I don't remember.
Because whoever it was, then he was on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay.
Because then
probably Lauren Green.
Then Little Joe grew up to play Pa Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie. And then he graduated to Heaven, to Angel Jonathan, and what was it? Heaven? Highway to Heaven. With Mr. Edwards.
Yes. That's right. They were both on Little House on the Prairie, and then they were on Highway to Heaven.
Yeah.
Nice. Lassie was on in 1965, and so was Gilligan's Island.
Oh, God. Gilligan's Island played nonstop growing up.
Sure did. TBS.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't recognize the man from U.N.C.L.E. I don't recognize... I guess I don't remember Batman being that, but I recognize Bewitched, Hogan's Heroes, Green Acres. I don't know. I think the thing is that a lot of these shows were on cable right when we were kids, so that's probably something that we would have seen.
Surely you know some of these theme songs, don't you?
Some of them, yeah.
What about Green Acres?
Yeah. I'd recognize it if it can sing it. I don't know how to sing it. I would recognize it, but I wouldn't be able to belt it out.
Green Acres is the place to be.
Yes, I would recognize it.
Living is the life for me.
Are we going to get in trouble for that?
No, because they're all dead. Land spreading out.
That's what has to happen here is they have to be dead so we can use these.
Yeah.
Fair.
See,
So I think what's interesting is that the TV shows I definitely recognize, but we also pulled up a list of the top movies from 1965. And I literally only recognize one of the 25.
Oh, really? Because I've seen quite a few.
I mean, the number one grossing movie in 1965, for those of you who are 1965 80s, was The Sound of Music, which was like one of my mom's favorite movies. So we would watch The Sound of Music every Christmas sometime, whatever.
Yeah, they did too.
I've
Yep, me
heard of
too.
Dr. Zhivago, but I've never seen it. And the
I
rest of
have.
them on here, I've never heard of and I've never seen. So, um, yeah, whatever that means.
Oh, you've never seen The Great Race? That's a cute movie. You've never seen Shenandoah
No,
or The Sons of Katie Elder
no,
or Help?
nope.
Wow.
How to Murder Your Wife was released on January 26, 1965. Um,
That
okay,
sounds like a mystery.
must be.
Oh, it says black comedy.
Yeah, I don't,
Dark.
yeah.
I would say dark comedy. Mirage. Girl Happy. That sounds like an Elvis. Doesn't that sound like an Elvis movie?
There could
Girl
be a,
Happy?
yeah, it's
That
just,
doesn't
it's
say.
quite honestly, it's a list of movies. What's New, Pussycat? I feel like I should know that one, but I don't.
No,
Not really.
I think Barbara Streisand's in that. I
Oh,
think. Maybe.
totally could be.
See, this is
No,
a
that
very
could.
strange time, because there's a lot of musicals
Yeah.
and there's still some westerns like Cat Ballou, that's a western, but a lot of epics. Like The Sound of Music was a musical, but it was what, 3 hours, 3.5 hours? Dr. Zhivago is an epic, very long movie. The Great Race is like 3.5 hours.
Hmm.
Shenandoah, I think, was a long movie. I remember watching Shenandoah because my mom loved James Stewart, and he's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
lead character in here. And I remember watching it, and he says something like bastard or something. And I was so shocked that a word like that would come up in James Stewart's mouth. Or he says sons of bitches or something. I was just like, oh, my stars.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, because he's like, Mr. Smith goes to Washington, says a bad word.
It looks like these aren't listed. These are listed a little bit differently, but you've got a note here about A Charlie Brown Christmas and the
Yes.
first Peanuts television special being in December of 1965, which is
Yeah.
honestly, for whatever reason, that shocks me. And I don't know why. Like, it just seems like it shouldn't be that old.
Yeah. No, it is shocking. And I think, I don't know how old I was before I realized like all of the Peanuts specials that we grew up with, like they were all old, or most of them were old by the time we got them.
Yeah. Which I don't
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
realized.
Yeah. 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 Um, and looking at music, again, I mean, I can see now looking at the media here why 1965 was chosen as kind of like the, we're done with the baby boomers being born and now here comes Gen X. Because there really is kind of a shift of you can kind of see the old and the new kind of merge
Yeah.
in 1965 and in television, movies, and here in music. We're going to see number one was Wooly Bully.
That one I know.
Can't help myself, or I can't help myself.
Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, I don't. So I know we talked in one episode about 8 tracks, and so the
Yes.
reason I know the sound downtown, the song downtown by Petula Clark, is that that was one of the 8 tracks that we had was Petula Clark.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got you, babe.
My girl.
Surely you. Surely you know the words to I Got You, Babe.
No. I mean, I know a little bit of it, but I would never be able to sing it. Um, Help Me,
So,
Rhonda, I do recognize. My Girl, I
so
definitely recognize.
we can't do a duet.
No, and the listeners will be grateful, probably. Like, you can sing, I cannot sing. It would be bad if we did a duet. It would be more like a solo with a dying cow in the background, so we won't do that to anybody.
That
Herman's
actually sounds pretty
Hermits.
amazing.
Have you heard of Herman's Hermits? I've never heard of
Yes,
Herman's
I
Hermits.
have.
All right.
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter.
Yeah, that does not
No,
ring a bell.
that does not ring a bell.
Stop in the Name of Love definitely rings a bell. Let me see. For some reason, The Birds and the Bees seems like I should know it, but I can't place it.
I know I feel like
Um,
I should know it too, and I don't. Oh, is this that? Let me tell you about the birds and the bees
that's what
and the
comes to
flowers
mind.
and the trees.
That one I definitely know. Stop in the Name of Love. I think we said already. Um, Mr.
Surely you know
Tambourine Man.
Unchained Melody. You know that one, don't you?
Yes.
How about
Um,
Hang On Sloopy?
no,
How about Ticket to Ride?
no. Game of Love by Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders. Okay, I didn't know those were a thing, but that's a lovely name for a band, the
The
Mindbenders, or a
Mindbender.
group. Um,
That's it.
that-
I feel like my mind is getting bent right now.
that's kind of how this goes. Seventh Son, I'm Henry the Eighth, I am. Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell.
Well, you don't
California
know that.
Girls? California
You
Girls for
don't.
sure rings a bell.
You don't know Henry the Eighth. I am.
No, I don't.
I'm Henry the Eighth. I am Henry the Eighth. I am. I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before. And everyone was a Henry. Uh,
You really
I
should share
don't
this with
understand.
Dee. She would love this. Um, Catch Us If You Can. Sounds familiar. All no. Let's see. I don't recognize All Day and All of the Night, but I feel like I should. It sounds familiar. What the World Needs Now is Love. That one I definitely recognize.
Who
Shake
sang that?
Jackie DeShannon, it says.
Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
who that is.
Love Potion number 9. That sounds super familiar, but I can't quite place it.
Oh my God. Okay, I know it's not unusual because that's Tom Jones, and my mom loved her some Tom Jones.
I mean,
Like
the
she loved
picture,
him.
the,
Like he should have been my daddy. That's how much my mom loved him.
that's fair. Might have been more fun, though.
Jeez. Would be a better singer?
That's true. Let's see. The Chalks of My Tears, Too Many Rivers, Little Things. I don't recognize any of those. We got to get out of this
You
place.
don't know Smokey Robinson?
I've heard of Smokey Robinson, but I don't know anything specifically that Smokey Robinson sang
You don't
off
know
the top of my
Direct My
head.
Tears?
No, do not.
Excuse me, everybody. I'm
I
going to
want
need to
candy.
make an emergency trip to infuse some classic rock into A's brain.
You can try. I'm not sure if it'll work. Ooh
I
Baby
don't
Baby.
know.
That one sounds familiar. Um, and then the last one on this list actually does. I don't recognize how sweet it is, but it's by Marvin Gaye. And my dad took my mom to Marvin Gaye concert when they started dating. So I know of
Okay.
Marvin Gaye.
So that just threw a whole like loophole into my understanding of your parents' relationship. Your dad took your mom to see Marvin Gaye, and then they raised you the way that they did, that you don't know who Smokey Robinson is and you don't recognize any of the music.
Are we a conundrum?
I'm from having some issue beer.
That's okay. Deep breaths, it'll be fine. So,
Seriously, I would have never, ever, ever put your parents at a Marvin Gaye concert.
I think it was happening on campus where they were in school. So it may have just been, the guy's here. Let's go see him. I don't know. I wasn't there. And I never really asked because when they would say the name, it meant nothing to me. So it's not like we were listening to these people growing up that I recall.
Okay, so that was quite a bit like the conversation we've been having the past 10 minutes. For you're like, yeah, none of these songs mean anything to me.
No, but I mean, it's also 1965. So it's kind of strange to me that this is the year Gen X actually started. The video, not the video, I shouldn't say the video, the TV stuff is way more familiar to me. The songs, I recognize a few. Obviously, I probably recognize 25-30% of the songs that are on this list of the top 100. So, like, I get all of that. But, I mean, these are probably also things that Gen Xers who were born in 1965 would also consider kind of old, right? Because these were and they've been around for a bit.
Yeah, these played on the oldies station that was one of the few radio stations I had access to.
Yeah.
Growing up. So these were oldies. But again, this is kind of interesting because when I look at this, I am seeing too now a shift in the music because you're starting to see Rolling Stones. You're seeing, I saw the Eve of Destruction, which I tend to think of like a later 60s. You're starting to see a bit of Motown starting up. But yet you still see the Beatles. Bob Dylan's popping up with like a Rolling Stone, which was, his big one. But yeah, it's, I can see now, looking at this stuff, it was kind of an interesting kind of transition year. Which when you think about, like, when did the U.S. start their involvement in Vietnam? Like, I think Kennedy was starting to send troops over, yeah? But, like, when did Vietnam officially, well, I guess it never was an official war, but, like, wasn't, like, 65 back when things really started heating up?
I think so. I mean, we were involved in the war from sometime in the 1950s until whatever 1973, right? So I don't know at what point in the 1960s. Looks like it greatly escalated in 1965. Our involvement greatly escalated in 1965.
So, okay, that's what I'm starting to see, because I always think of like Eve of Destruction.
Yeah.
So it's a very anti-war song.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm not done singing to you today because I'm singing lyrics you've never heard before. So
that's okay. Now I've heard them. So how do we want to celebrate the Gen Xers turning 60? We talked about some of the music that was popular, some of the films that were popular, TV that was popular in the 60s when they were born. We just want to say thanks for paving the road because we're coming up behind you.
Born in 65. You want to talk about a wild, wild time. We celebrate this as an anniversary. It is a diamond anniversary.
Nice.
Unfortunately, we are Gen X, and most of us cannot afford diamonds.
This is true.
even at 60.
We could get a nice cubic zirconia and pretend it's a diamond.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Or teeny tiny little, commemorative diamond.
Yeah.
Little chip.
There you go. We could call this the cubic zirconia episode or something. I don't name them very well. That's your job, but that's fine.
I have so many jobs.
Good at jobs.
So many. So what do you think, this still, even though so much of this looks familiar to me and I know the songs and I've watched the TV shows and the movies, it still is, it's like, I tie it more to my parents, that these were things that my parents were doing. So
yeah,
even knowing, but it's still, I guess when you think about it, it was because the boomers were still coming of age. It still was very much their culture, wasn't it? So it's kind of interesting to see
the overlap.
how, yeah. And as we know, was it also on January 1st of this year? Do we have a new generation again? Gen Beta?
That's what I was told. Yeah.
Beta started this year. So they're growing up with kind of what Gen Z and Gen Alpha, what, they're kind of producing right now, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because all of this is old to me, and it blows my mind that some of these people are as old as they are. But then again, it blows my mind when I look in the mirror and I'm like, who is that old Steve hag? And then I go, oh my God, it's me.
Yes, I get it. I mean, I would have never thought that we were in the same generation as people who are now in their 60s. Like that does not sound super comfortable, but that's okay. That's not what we're here for, right? Not for comfort.
Well, wait until we celebrate. I think 70th is like Emerald or something, the Emerald anniversary. And then we're going to be 58 going.
Here we go.
We're still cool.
I mean, we're sure trying anyway. I do think you're right. Like a lot of these things that were just very popular at that time, we are going to associate more, and they probably do too. I would bet if you ask somebody who's born in 1965, 66, even up to 1970, maybe even later, they probably associate this stuff also with their parents and maybe their grandparents, because these people performing in a lot of these things, whether they're these artists, whether they're actors or singers, are quite a bit older already, right? When you get to 1965, these are not people who are super young in 1965. So I think you're looking at them when you're born in that 1965, even in 1975 range, and you look back and you think, oh, that's my parents' generation. So, and I think that's normal for anybody, right?
I was going to say, I think that's true for us. Like when we look back at 1976 and 1977, and again, the music, movies, television. But yeah, those were the things that our parents and our grandparents were watching. We were born then, but we were teeny tiny. But I wasn't the one sitting there watching MASH or ballads.
Not until, I mean, we watched
until
those
we were
things,
older. Right.
but we were not old enough to remember them for quite a while. But I mean, we watched MASH for a long. I watched MASH in college, so I mean, it was all, of course, reruns. But those kinds of shows, absolutely, I connect to my dad, right? Like, no question about it. In Highway to Heaven, I would connect to my mom.
Little joke.
But I mean, we also grew up watching Little House on the Prairie, like we did. And we read all the books. Like, I don't know if that was a thing you guys did in elementary school, but like I don't remember what grade it was.
My mom actually bought the entire set and then she read the entire set to us. Yeah.
That's fantastic. We did. We had, I remember we'd just get them out of the library, and I know I read them all. And Laura Ingalls Wilder, her home is in DeSmet, South Dakota. So
I have been there.
Not super far from where I grew up. So yeah, that was always fun to see. But haven't I haven't looked at those books in so long, but the weird thing is if I had them, I'd read them again.
Oh, really? Because I have them in my basement. They're packed away.
I remember I
Yeah,
liked them as a kid. I don't know if I'd like them now, but I'd probably try to read them
probably,
again.
you probably wouldn't like them as well.
Probably not. That's fine.
C'est la vie. So, happy 60th birthday, Gen X.
Yes.
And
Hopefully we didn't make
we
you
will
feel too old today.
and we will still love you and we will still feed you as we all march ever so unhappily towards 64 and beyond.
There you go. Fantastic. So happy birthday to everybody at the beginning of Gen X. All of our
Yeah.
spearhead or tip of the spear, whatever you want to call it, Gen Xers, have a fantastic 60th year. Hopefully we're as fun when we get there too.
Yeah. I wonder what languages we're going to be studying then.
Like in the look on your face just now is like, I don't know if I can handle fun when I'm 60, but we're gonna try it.
I don't know. I am probably still going to be battling you for great. It's a one-sided battle
For
for
Italian.
points for Italian.
All right. Well, let's do it. So
All right.
all right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed a little trip down 1965 memory lane. Be sure to like and subscribe. Throw some comments in there. Let us know if you are a 1965 baby, right? If you are the very first of the Gen Xers. Let us know if you remember any of these things, like how they sit in your memory. Do you remember them as like, oh, this is my parents' music, this is my parents' TV, etc. Or if you really do identify with it, because maybe you do, and that's cool too. We'd love to hear that. So sure, like and subscribe. Get your friends to like and subscribe. Do all the things like last time we talked about. And
It's free.
it's free.
It's free.
It's free. The best things in life, right? They're free. Or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. I usually give it away for free. So
We're just going to let that one stay right where it's at. We will see you all next time when you join us for something else to complain about. T, it has been an adventure, as always.
always.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye,
Be
guys.
good, everybody.